The TPD is the set of regulations and restrictions that govern novel tobacco products, as they're called now, because that's vaping products are considered tobacco products. Really what they are is a set of restrictions, arbitrary restrictions at that really don't make a whole lot of sense. Came into effect in November 2016 and then came into full effect in 2017. There's a nicotine cap of 20 milligrams per milliliter, and nicotine containing liquid bottles have a maximum capacity of 10 milliliters. Tanks can't be any more than 2 milliliters. There's restrictions on advertising, there's health warnings, and there's a myriad of other things that have to go on.
The TPD is being revised, and what do you think are the likely outcomes?
Not to be overly pessimistic, but the signs at the minute aren't overly promising, because you had, for example, the Finland bans, you have Denmark at the minute there's a proposed flavour ban. There was just a notification period on the Trust website that just actually closed a few days ago. The Netherlands have also introduced a proposal to ban flavours. There's a lot to be worried about what could actually happen. But during the review process for the TPD itself, one of the things that we noted when we actually took part in the review process was that all they were focused on, or all they seemed to really care about, was how the policies that were in place were being policed. They weren't looking at how did the policies actually affect smoking rates. Was there unintended consequences from, for example, the nicotine limit, the health warnings and things like that? So these regulations seem to only go in one way, and that's get stricter rather than, right, this didn't work, so we should look at maybe relaxing it. I mean, in our opinion, that's exactly what they should be doing, because some of the restrictions are ridiculous, and they have no basis in science either. That's another thing, for the limits. For the bottle limits and the nicotine limits, the scientists whose research was actually cited wrote to the Commission to say that their scientific research had been misused and misinterpreted what they had used as a reason to put these in place. So, I mean, they didn't even listen to the scientists they cited. With a review as well, they're not actually listening to stakeholders, again, as Thomas had said.
So do you think consumers have a platform in which they can have a say or be heard and petition for consumer-friendly regulations? Because I do understand TPD is really important, not just for Europe, of course, but also globally, because these set of regulations do tend to get picked up by other countries. For example, when I saw the China's proposed regulation, it was just a lift-off of the TPD. And since these are ready regulations, there is a possibility that they will be picked up by governments elsewhere. And what happens? I mean, Europe is the bastion, right? I mean, the regulation of vaping is far advanced in Europe than anywhere else.
Well, within the TPD itself, there's a pretense that consumers have a say. To be quite honest with you, it was very, very difficult to actually take part in the review process. CHRA, which is the kind of umbrella group for 21 consumer associations across 16 countries, we managed to get stakeholder survey to actually take part from ICF, who are consultants working on behalf of the EU, but it was difficult. I mean, we actually had to go through different channels to actually get to take part in that. And one of the things we pointed out to them at the time in the survey was that other registered consumer associations were either denied or just not given an opportunity to take part. Whereas they sent out surveys and questionnaires to tobacco controllers en masse, consumer associations had to try and chase up invites to take part in questionnaires and surveys. And even then, they weren't always guaranteed to take part in it. The way I would look at it from an Irish perspective as well is that consumers should be contacting MEPs and TDs, their elected representatives, to put these points across to them. I think that's one of the best ways to engage, because a lot of politicians, they don't have an opinion on e-cigarettes, and the reason they don't have an opinion is because their constituents aren't telling them they have to have an opinion.